guys, good afternoon. Let me just close this off, turn this up. How's everyone doing? You might notice that I'm swollen here. I had to have some surgery on a dentist crown gone wrong. I had to drill in, slice off my gum, go in, cut out a root, and move a post down. So I'm in quite a bit of pain. So we just have a bit of a niche. Couple of things we'll talk about, and we'll see how long we go for. Maybe about an hour. We'll do a quick hellos and stuff, and then do a quick review. I'll talk about why this episode or this stream is called "Told You So." Before looking at things like questions and more in depth about Bigger the Back and potentially Wildcard in this game week instead of waiting for the next one. Let me just turn up my sound just a little bit here. Give me a second. It should be fine. I don't want to be too close. It's in the yellow, so the audio should be not too bad. Hey Neil, good to see you. Painkiller time. Yeah, I've got some ibuprofen and stuff, but it's absolutely killing me. Yeah, that's a drilling slice off my gum. Take out a root, fill it with bone powder, stitch it all up so the stitchings won't come out till Wednesday. So absolute killer. So let's just do a zoom out a little bit, real quick review. If you didn't catch me on the Scout on Monday, I got 58 points. -4, which is just below the average, which was crazy. There were so many people missing, so many people having like not even 11 people, not even 11 players, and we still ended up, those kind of game weeks in the past usually ended up with people on an average of like 30 points. But for this one, the average was 55, considering, you know, so many players got like no points or didn't play or suspended or whatever. It's just that, you know, people have Ben Rama and the likes of Saar. It was like the players that did banged big, and I think that's what pulled the average score week up. It was not fun, Neil. No, it was not. So even though I'm huge for Bigger the Back, you can see my defense is not doing well at the back. In my defense, Sufal was on the bench, but Alexander-Arnold didn't play, which would have probably been a clean sheet if he did, so it wouldn't have been as bad. Wolves are looking a problem for me as well. Just try not to worry though, guys, right now about rank. So my rank, you can see, is about 588,000. Focus on points for now. So I just want to show you guys live FPL, right? And again, this is something that I did point out on the Scout stream on Monday. And I want to show you, importantly, guys, this part here. Hold on, I've lost it now. This part right here. The first place in the whole world, and we're going into game week 6, is just 100 points ahead, which, you know, it's quite a lot. But if I was 100 points behind a rival in a mini league, 100 points in game week 6, I wouldn't be that scared of. But you can see that from 200k, zoom in, I don't want it to disappear, but I want you guys to be able to see it. You guys can see that I'm 3 points off 500k, but I'm 14 points ahead of 1 million rank. So I could double my rank by being outscored by just 14 points. So there's like a 30-point swing between around 1 million rank and 200k, which going into game week 6 is still massive. So again, guys, still don't worry too much about your rank. If you followed me on the channel before, you know last year I was game week 9 or game week 10. I was like 4.5 million or 4 million. Nightmare start to the season, and I finished like 150k. So don't worry about the rank right now. Just keep focus on your points, focus on your team, stick to your plan if you have one. And if you don't, then this is a great place for you guys to give your suggestions or ask for ideas, because the community is pretty cool at doing that. So quick review, pretty much this is in the bag. Huge. I laughed about Barnes. 2 offsides for Leicester against Brighton. Both of them were disallowed goals. Both of them were Barnes. So let's just first start off with the reason why I've called this Told You So. And you might know that during preseason, I had said that this was the year I felt that it big at the back or more money in defense was the way to go. 5 at the back is a video I made for Fantasy Football Scout. I went with 4 at the back, and I still think that's the way to go. And the amount of comments that I got and the amount of grief I got saying I'm stupid, I don't understand the game, I'm a fool, an idiot, a noob, whatever you want was thrown at me either on Twitter or on the YouTube comments. And now that, so that was predicting before. You want advice before things happen. And then now big at the back is working. And now everyone is saying, yeah, we should put more money in defense. And the people are like, yeah, that's a really good idea. That's an excellent idea. Let's put more money in defense. And then now everyone's like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. We should put more money in the defense. So I felt like a little bit justified with the amount of grief that I got for suggesting this was the season to go bigger at the back and put more money in defense. The amount of grief I got, I felt like saying, like, now everyone's saying it's a great idea after it's happened. It's easy now to say big at the back is good because it's after the case instead of before. So there you go. That's why I wanted to say a little bit of I told you so. Let's go on to first, just to have a quick look at my team. I've said before that my initial plan to wildcard was game week 7, which is after this game week, because we're going into game week 6. So some of you might be in a similar situation to me, a similar plan to me. You might have already played your wildcard. Some of you might want the Fantastic Four, which, to reiterate, would be Trent, Salah, Ronaldo, and Lukaku. 4 players that you can see I have right now. And a lot of people will be waiting to wildcard in game week 7 because they want to get in heavy on Chelsea because they have the biggest fixture swing. So another common question and another common topic is talking about Ronaldo to Lukaku. And actually, a lot of people might not end up doing that and just keeping both because of Ronaldo constantly scoring. So, for example, you can see he is my captain at the moment. They're in the early kickoff. Man City and Chelsea are the early kickoff, and so is Manchester United and Aston Villa. And you can see that Ronaldo is currently my captain. I'm going to try and talk and suggest as to why I'm not going to keep Ronaldo and Lukaku at the moment, at the present time. Now, if I watch Ronaldo tomorrow, and again he scores 2 or 3 goals, and he looks like insatiable, that might change my mind, of course. 100% Ronaldo should be captain. So we're gonna again, and it's the 2 things I talked a lot preseason. If you've watched any of my things before, the first thing was spending more money on defense. I think is worth rather than spending that money, the same amount of money, on midfielders and strikers. That has turned out to be true. But the second thing I talked a lot about in preseason and throughout the season is effective ownership. So Neil, you saying Ronaldo to be captain 100%? I agree. I'm going with a player that's at home. Aston Villa concede more goals away from home. And I've been personally impressed by Brentford's defensive display. Even though they haven't come across a particularly top tier opponent yet, I still think that their shape and their discipline has been pretty good. That's why I went with the goalkeeper of Brentford, Raya, or Raya, however you pronounce his name, instead of going for the likes of Guaita, which could change on a wildcard. So first, I'll discuss why I'm probably not going to wildcard this game week, and I'll still try and save it. You can see I have made 1 transfer this week, guys, and it was before the price rise, and it was Livramento, the fullback, the young fullback for Southampton, now 4.2 million, but I got it for 4.1, in for Simicast, because I had 0.1 in the bank, and that's the move that I made. Now, when we talk about some wildcard drafts, and so just let me know in the chat if you guys are going to wildcard, if you still have your wildcard, because that'll mean, you know, it's more useful for the few of you that are in here, rather than me just talking about it and you're like, oh, I've already used my wildcard. This is pointless. But, you know, the point of my streams is to chat FPL and also discuss the reason why I'm doing it. So I can learn, and maybe you can learn, or take my plan and adapt it into your own. Right? Because that's what I do. I don't just tell people what to do. I suggest my opinion. I give the reason why, and then it's up to you to make up your own decision. So the wildcards that I made in, I would say, what would it be? Game week 3 or game week 4? It's still on my mind, and it was double Chelsea defense with Lukaku. It didn't have Ronaldo, and the entire balance of the team was absolutely solid. But people might want to pull the trigger now. Even though you look at my team, I've got Rafinha, who's like 50-50 to play. Barnes, who in my opinion has every right to be dropped from that Leicester side. He did improve as the game went on. Maddison was the one that got hauled off, but I would not be surprised if Harvey Barnes does not play this game. I'm still not looking to wildcard, because on my wildcard I'm probably going to get rid of Ronaldo, and I do want him for this match. I don't have Antonio. Excuse me. That is a worry, because if Leeds are missing, like Ayling and Bamford and the likes of that, then I'm going to miss Antonio. But Soufal will also likely be leaving on a wild card. And I keep saying every week I make plans for wild cards, I make drafts for wild cards, and I come back to my starting 11 and I look at the fixtures that they've got and I think it's not quite there yet. If I were to wild card now, I'd have double Chelsea, who are about to play Manchester City. Now, I do believe Chelsea are going to win the league. I've said that since game week 2. There's something about, as a whole unit, I believe Chelsea could win the league this year. But they are still playing against Manchester City. So if I'm going to go double defense, that means Shaw's going to go, who has Villa. That means Cody is likely to go, who has Southampton. And it means Soufal is likely to go, and he's away at Leeds, who are decimated. So I'd be massively tempted, because Ronaldo would go to Antonio. I'd have a front three. And it's like 20 points or 22 or 24 points or whatever. So it is a wild-cardable draft that I've made. I make enough changes to make it warrant doing it now. But I am still going to hold off and wait just one more week. And I hope that I can at least keep up with that. If Rafinha plays, I'm happy. If Barnes plays, I'm happy. Because if one of them doesn't play, I'm still happy. Because Livramento coming off the bench for me probably isn't a bad thing with how Wolves is right now. So I'll talk. So before we go on to the game week, so let me just check the chat about things like about wildcards. Hey Aaron, good to see you, buddy. Let me just catch up with Neil's messages. If you had Ronaldo, you would keep for the next two both home games. This is very true, but there's also Champions League in there, Neil. You only have Salah or Antonio, so you're a gamble. Amazing captain picks. I think, yeah, I've done all right with captain picks so far. Not too bad. Dennis, the one and only, keeping him all season now. The Watford striker, right? You'll be wildcarding in game week 7 as well, Stephen. I think that seems the right way. Chris has still also got his wildcard to use it in game week 8. So Chris, if you're thinking 8 or 13, I've also considered saving it for one more week and doing game week 8, because I also want a Manchester City defender. But they play Liverpool. However, on my wildcard, I'll probably still bring in, for example, Cancelo, and I'll just bench him for a week. I think that is the plan that I would do. I think it's worthy and worth it to do it in game week 7 and just bench whoever you're waiting on for 1 week, rather than delay your entire squad for a game week. Neil is holding it now. You think about 14 is the plan for more swings. So again, we come to the stage of, how is your team set up now, and are you comfortable with it going forward? Now, if you're waiting to use your wildcard all the way in like game week 14, the second wildcard usually comes out earlier than, in my opinion. You don't usually use that. You don't usually. In my experience, I don't usually use a second wildcard that late, because it becomes kind of, I feel as though the longer you hold a wildcard, the less valuable it becomes. It does feel like game week 7 or game week 8 is the prime area, in my opinion. But again, it completely depends on your squad, how you are set up. I don't want to say dead ending, but I got the big 4 players in Salah, Lukaku, Ronaldo, and Trent, because I knew I was pigeonholing myself and narrowing my options, because like I say, pre-wildcard, go for it, take the punts, bring in the players for a week, have a go in this style, and then when you wildcard, I make a nice solid 15-man squad that lasts me 20, 30 weeks. Hopefully, unless I get absolutely, destroyed by injuries, things like that. And you can't plan for that. Okay, that's just the way it goes. So I just feel 14 is a little bit longer than I personally want to do it, but if you're completely self and you're happy, then that's fine. I do feel as though having Lukaku and Salah and having a full balanced squad, even if Ronaldo scores a goal a game, he's probably looking at 6 or 7 points, which is nice. But 12.5 million is a lot of money for a player. I'm still don't know if I'm going to keep. But again, I'm going to look at him against Villa. I'm going to see because he's got a ridiculous amount of shots in the box. He's looking right up there. That it might even get to the stage, guys, that I get rid of Lukaku and keep Ronaldo, which might sound crazy to a lot of you guys. A lot of people are saying switch from United to Chelsea from game week 7. I completely understand it. But I might even take the punt and go triple Chelsea or like Mendy and 2 defenders and really sit back on those Chelsea clean sheets rather than Lukaku. Because I feel as though Ronaldo's going to be the guy who sits in the box and they're going to try and get him the ball every single time. I own Lukaku for the last 2 games, and a lot of people have said, I don't own him, I've been really scared. When I'm watching a player and I don't fear it, I don't fear not having them, that worries me. Like every time I watch Salah, I think, thank God I've got him in my FPL side, right? And same for Trent. Every time I watch Liverpool, I'm just thinking, I've got Trent, I've got Salah. I'm going to enjoy the game no matter what. When I watch Chelsea, I'm hugely impressed from their team. Massively. That's why I'm backing them to win the league. Lukaku's probably going to score a few goals and maybe get a few assists as well. But the way Ronaldo is, the fact that he's still just scoring in every game, and the fact that Chelsea can spread it around. Lukaku can come back, lay it off. They can aim at him. He can be the creator. He can just be part of the play. But I feel like, not to the extent of Manchester City, but I feel as though it'll spread around more. Manchester United, it is Ronaldo. Give the ball to Ronaldo. But then you've got to take into equation the fact that Lukaku is like 1.1 million cheaper. Again, this is a decision that I'll make following the Aston Villa game. Just catch up with the chat. Aaron, Wildcard game week 8 for you for Chelsea fixtures and catch prices. So Aaron, a point that you're making about waiting for game week 8. I mentioned this earlier. Don't hold a team for a week longer than you should just to catch price rises. And I actually find that price rises are slower over international breaks because people disengage from FPL during that time. Because they think, all right, there's no football for 2 weeks. I don't need to look at FPL. Hey, Mark, welcome, buddy. You picked Ederson at the start of the season. It was expensive, but it's worth getting a 4.5 to get some money back in preparation for Chelsea defenders. No. The only worry about the likes of Ederson and Alisson and Mendy in the future is international football. I'm probably going to go Raya and Guaita in a 4.5 rotation situation. Denver, did you miss the rant talking about 5 in the back being the highest score? Hard to pick the ones that they get the highest ones. But I also said manager of the week. The ones that don't play any chips like triple captain or bench boost are also playing at least 4 at the back. The rant at the start of the stream was me saying preseason I said it was big at the back, and now after it's become popular and everyone else is saying it, now it's a good idea after all the grief I got over the summer. Hey, Krista, welcome back, buddy. Have you made money on Ronaldo? Yeah, I've had him at 12.5. He's I can guess how much. I don't even know how much he is now because I've had him since he came in. He's 12.7. Yeah. Okay, I've made 0.1 million on it. But again, my team value, and usually because I'll go early and I'll get the price rises. Usually my team value is one of the best things about my teams. But this year, you can see my team value is just 100.6. I'm not bothered about team value. I've rated it far too highly to my own, to my own shortcomings. It's held me back looking at price rises instead of just looking at players. Pay 0.1. Take the hit. I've still got Barnes. I've lost 0.2 on him, but I've kept him for the fixtures and I've used it for information, right? No worries, Mark. Thank you. Hey, Abish. You think transferring out Greenwood for Pogba is a good move? If you've got nothing else to do, yes. If it's not a dire pressing issue, then it's fine. But I mean, it wouldn't be high on my list of priorities unless I see Greenwood on the bench. I think it's fine at the moment to keep him. It's when you see that first game where Greenwood is on the bench, you'll start to think, now's the time. Now's the time to do it. So, you're on your wildcard now. All right, if you're on your wildcard, then yes, I would go Pogba over Greenwood. So, I'm going to hold one more week because... So you guys on your wildcard now. I'm holding one more week purely because the players that I'm going to bring in, like Chelsea players, they've got Man City, and I still think they'll do well. It could be 0-0, could be 1-0, could be 1-1. I think it'll be low scoring. I think it's going to be like a chess match of football, right? But I just feel as though taking out a defender against Leeds, a defender at home to Villa, Barnes against Burt, because Barnes will be gone on a wild card. Traore could be gone on a wild card. Rafinha could be gone on a wild card. Sufal, Cody, Shaw, all gone on wild cards, right? But look at the games that they've got this week, and I fancy it. Now, Rafinha, I know he's injured, but I've already made a transfer. I'm not going to take a -4 just before I take a wild card. I don't think it's worth it. I won't get my points back unless they absolutely bang, right? So I feel as though I can give this team at least one more week. Because look at the fixtures. If Barnes plays at home to Burnley, who have been shocking, that's fine. I still think Wolves could come good. Southampton away is not particularly easy, but it's not a bad fixture. You know, it's a 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 for difficulty. Sufal away to Leeds, who are decimated with injuries. Shaw at home against Villa could get clearly another assist. So that's why I'm personally holding on for one more week. You're not a fan of 7 purely because of the Liverpool City game. You don't want your brand new shiny place. And Aaron, yes, that's what I'm talking about in terms of game week 7 or game week 8. So you're thinking of bringing Man City players in. Like I said, I'll probably bring in Cancelo, but because I'll be spending more money at the back, I'll just bench him for a week. And this is what I'm saying. So, Aaron, it depends on the rest of your squad. If the rest of your squad have got okay fixtures, or you've got lots of flags, or you're pushing to get 11 men out, you're not going to wildcard for the sake of like 1 or 2 players, and it's going to be detrimental for the rest of your team. So it's like, I'm not going to wildcard in game week 7 because I want Cancelo, but I don't want him against Liverpool. But then the other 10 players are going to suffer for that one in my starting 11. That's the point I'm trying to make. So just how big should we go at the back? Now, I've said it time and time again, I'm massively pro defense. Big players at the back. So when I say that Shaw, Sufal, Cody, I'm probably still going to go for 4 at the back for monetary reasons. Because if I start every single week, let's just say the ones that we want to go for right now, let's just go to Chelsea. Let's get Alonso and Rudiger in there. And let's go to a Man City defender like Cancelo. Get rid of Barnes, get rid of Raf. 4.5 fodder, doesn't matter. Get rid of this. Someone has to go. Now, I am probably looking at a 4-3-3. That could also be a 5-3-2 or a 5-2-3. That's the squad that I could be looking at, which that makes it possible that Livramento might not stay, and I might get in a 5 million defender. But I just think for his price and the points he could give you with this run for Southampton, I just think, yeah. So you can see, if I start every game week with these 4 players, now as soon as Alonso's dropped, if he gets dropped, right, play the game in front of you. A lot of people saying his time is short, Chilwell's coming back in, surely he's going to get dropped. He hasn't yet. He's played every minute. He's missed 5 minutes in the first game week. Aside from that, He's played every single minute of football. He's played really well. Not just in terms of FPL, in terms of football, he's played really well. Play the game in front of you. Don't not bring in Alonso on a wild card because people are saying he could get replaced. He has the position now. Get him now and downgrade him later. Say he loses his position to Chilwell. Chilwell's 5.3, is he now? Where's Chilwell? 5.6. You can get him. Go Alonso to Chilwell. Put another 0.2 in there and go Alonso to Aspilicueta. But just for now, let me put Alonso back in there. So I would personally, this is the setup that I'm looking at the minute with 4 big defenders, because every single game week, no matter who my guys are playing, Trent, Alonso, Rudiger, Cancelo, week in, week out, I'm happy. Like, I'm not scared about my defenders whatsoever. Every week, I'll just look at my back 4 and I'll think, this is nice. I believe in you. Go for Trent, Rudiger, Diaz, and Edison in goals. Just, again though, Mark, just be careful, right? Because, like, the Brazilians and the South Americans and the Central Americans, and I think, is it in January or February, the Africans with African Cup of Nations, just be wary that they'll be gone. You took a risk and went big at the back, 5 defenders each game week this season, and you're on 22k overall. Beautiful. Rudy, hey buddy, how you doing? You've had Alonso from the start, got you many points. Isn't he the joint highest defender right now? No, he's outright the highest defender right now. So how big would I go at the back? I'd go 4 defenders. Livramento, for me, he's just there. Now, I could go 5 at the back some weeks. So let's just say, for example, Burnley game week 9, Watford game week 10, Norwich game week 12. Might fancy 5 at the back. I wouldn't go as far as saying, for example, take out Livramento, smash in Van Dijk, and go mega big at the back. 2 Liverpool, 2 Chelsea, and a City. I think that might be... I don't want to say too much, because, again, week in, week out, I think 5.8 million Alonso, 5.6 Rudiger, 6 million Cancelo, and a 6.6 Van Dijk or 5.5 Laporte or whatever is still better than the slim pickings of a 5.8 million striker or a 5.8 million midfielder. That's exactly the point I made during preseason, right? It's all about points in your team. And week in, week out, if you started 5 at the back every week and it was Trent, Van Dijk, Alonso, Rudiger, and Cancelo, something like that, right? And people say it's not flexible, but it is flexible. In fact, I'm going to argue right now that it's more flexible because you never have to touch your defense. So you're going to have Salah, you're going to have Lukaku or Ronaldo in this scenario, right? Which means that you've got 5 defenders, right? You've got a striker in Ronaldo or Lukaku and a midfielder in Salah. And then a goalkeeper. You're not going to change. That's 8 out of 11. That means every single week you can just focus on 3 positions instead of 11. Does that make sense? So when people say it's not flexible, you can't jump on this guy, you can't jump on that guy. But when you've only, say you're playing a 3-4-3 and you've got 2 budget defenders, 2 budget midfielders and 1 budget striker, that's not flexible, because if you're playing 3-5-2 and you've got Salah, Son, and 3 budget midfielders, you've only got 1 transfer a week. So you can't keep jumping around because you've got too many people to jump. You don't have that week in, week out nailed player, nailed team. It's weird. It's in a way, it's boring that if I just stick massive defenders, Salah, for arguments, just for the sake of arguments right now, Lukaku, you play and just get rid of Foster. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 players here now. Week in, week out, if you had to play these 8 players, The other 3 positions you can change every week. You'd only ever have to change any of these players that are currently in my squad, which is Raya, a goalkeeper, right? Trent, Alonso, Rudiger, Cancelo, Van Dijk, Salah, Lukaku. You would never have to change any of these players unless they get injured. Week in, week out, any one of those 8 out of 11 can get you something. So the rest of your starting 11, the other 3 players would be your 6 or 7 millions, right? The ones that, so with the 3 positions you've got, they're the ones that you chop and change. You don't chop and change your defense. You just stick with them. You wouldn't chop and change. You might chop and change Salah or Lukaku for someone like for like, which is fine. That's okay. But that just means every single game week, you only have to look at 3 players in your side to choose from who you want to move in or move out. This making sense for you guys? So when people argue to me that it's not flexible because you can't move money here and there and everywhere, fine. But if you're starting the game week, 8 of your players are solid gold, rock solid, top quality Premier League players, and you only have to worry about 3 of them that you can chop and change all the time. Your one transfer focuses on those 3 positions rather than your entire 11. So let me just quickly go back to the team I'm playing right now. So this is my player. So in my team, let's call them the non-negotiables, right? Trent, Salah, Ronaldo, Lukaku. That's 4 players. The rest of my starting 11 is expendable. The rest of them are completely expendable. So 7 players in my starting 11. If someone pops up, I'll change them. I'll sell them for someone else. But I only have 1 transfer to make a week. So this week I've made my 1 transfer, Livramento, but I'm still stuck with Barnes, Traore, a possibly injured Rafinha. Sure, United aren't keeping clean sheets. Soufal, he's not keeping many clean sheets. And Cody, Wolves are there, they're just not delivering. So when I'm saying that 5 at the back is not, it's more flexible because you only have 3 players to worry about because 8 of them are solid gold instead of having 7 players to worry about like I've got right now. And the only time it becomes a problem is like right now, this game week, because if I was to do this right now, I would have Alonso and Rudiger against Manchester City. And Cancelo is there as well. So I'd have 3 of my 5 defenders playing against each other. And then next week, Cancelo will play Van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So the only reason why I'm holding off on this idea now is because in the next 2 game weeks, they're going to play each other. But that's it. They play each other now. So Chelsea, when do they next play? They've already played Liverpool once, and they're about to play Man City. They're the 2 big worries for me. Man City and Liverpool for Chelsea, right? So when do they next play? They've got United in game week 13 at home. I'm not too worried about that. Game week 21 and game week 22, back-to-back, 21 Liverpool, 22 Man City. So from game week 6 to game week 21, I'm completely satisfied with my Liverpool. Say I go Liverpool double defense, Chelsea double defense. Completely satisfied. All right, Chris, take it easy, buddy. So we're talking just shy of, what is it, like 18 weeks? 17 weeks? 16 weeks. 16, no. Can't count. 15 game weeks being satisfied having this backline. 15 game weeks where I don't have to think about changing anyone. And a lot can happen in 15 game weeks. Chelsea could completely lose the plot and concede 3 goals a game. Liverpool could do what they did last year. Van Dijk gets injured. Trent gets it. Yeah, of course. But again, like I said earlier, you've got to play the game that's in front of you. And you can't you know, I can't not have players because they might get injured, right? So and the only reason that I'm not pulled the wild card now is because if I did that, and look, I'm not even going to rule it out. This is a possibility. I could do this from tomorrow. I could. If we hear Rafinha's definitely out and Barnes is dropped, I'm probably playing with 10 men, and I'm just thinking, go for it. Pull the trigger a week early and have it done. And just not have Ronaldo for this one. Which brings me back to why would I just not stick with the Fantastic Four? Trent, Salah, Lukaku, and Ronaldo. And it comes back to the argument, guys, that I was making before, and it's effective ownership. If I do it this way, I could captain Lukaku. I'll look at his effective ownership, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to captain Mo Salah, who's 57.7 owned. People keep saying, oh, it's about points for your players and doing stuff like that. It's not. I hate this game week because I've got Mo Salah. He's going to have an effective ownership higher than 100%. People will talk about swords and shields all day long. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is, and it's the reason why I didn't start with Bruno Fernandes, when you're dealing with a player that's got 57.7% ownership and plays for Liverpool, and it's Mo Salah, and you've got a big United player, and it's Cristiano Ronaldo, so it's not just a United player. We had this with Bruno. It's also Cristiano Ronaldo. He's 48% owned. It's a big problem because you can only captain one of them. And I would rather not have Ronaldo, use that 12.6 million to get a great start in 11 and hope some of them can match him, rather than having a player in my side that hurts my team or negates some of the damage to my team. I just don't like playing that way, and I don't think you can win FPL that way. If you've got Salah and Ronaldo and Lukaku and Trent, every time they bang, you bang with everyone. Look, you'll get a small green arrow. And if you don't have Ronaldo and he bangs, yeah, you're going to get a massive red arrow. No word of a lie. If I do this wild card now, and I don't have Ronaldo, and he goes out there tomorrow, and he gets an hat-trick. He gets 3 goals. Unless Lukaku does the same, or Salah does the same, or the rest of my 11 matches it, I'm going to get a nice, big, fat, juicy red arrow. And I understand that. But I would rather play the game and try and win it, rather than having a guy in my team that I don't want to do well. I'm going to sit this game week and I'm going to watch Salah against Brentford and hope he blanks. And if you've got both of them and you've captained Ronaldo and you're still wanting Salah to bang, then you're just literally asking for fewer points or worse rank or a worse game week performance. Because Salah's effective ownership is going to be like over 120%, whatever rank you're in. And Ronaldo's effective ownership, whatever rank you're in, is also probably going to be about 150% probably tomorrow. So I'm going with Ronaldo because he's at home, and I think Villa concede more away, and I like Brentford's defence. But then I'm still looking at my 12.5 million superstar usual captain Mo Salah, and I want him to blank. And that's just not how I want to play the game. Now, Lukaku right now is 31.7% owned. And please remember that we're in a YouTube bubble, we're in a Twitter bubble, that when we say, oh, everyone's going to sell Ronaldo to Lukaku, so keep Ronaldo because effective ownership. No, it will not. We're in a bubble, and there's no way 48% of the game is clued up or watching all the content or is willing to sell Cristiano Ronaldo in Game Week 7. There's no way. People are excited he's back in the Premier League, or if you're a United fan, or if you're just a Ronaldo fan, and if he scores tomorrow, there's no way people are sensibly going to sit down and say, the fixture swing is occurring now. I'm going to sell Cristiano Ronaldo, who's scored, if he scores a goal tomorrow, who's scored 4 goals in 3 games. I'm going to sell him, and I'm going to bring in Romelu Lukaku because it's the smart move because of the fixture. You're not going to get that. You're not. Because I'm sat here now thinking if he gets an hat-trick tomorrow, I'm probably going to sell Lukaku and keep Ronaldo, which again negates my own theory and own plan of trying to win the game of FPL. That's my thinking anyway. And I'll finish off the draft and we'll see what we can make if I go Lukaku or Ronaldo. But this is the point that I'm trying to make when I'm saying I've had Trent, Salah, Lukaku, and Ronaldo for the last like 2 game weeks for Ronaldo, I think, from his first game, right? And it looks really nice on paper having those 4 players, but the rest of your squad is not as talented or not as good in terms of FPL. So your whole game week score is lower. And if you've got those 4 players and your captain does well, you'll have an all right game week. But if 3 of those players do well and one of them's not your captain, so the 4th one's your captain and blanks, you're going to get a big red arrow. So it just feels I'd rather just have a crack and not have Ronaldo, captain Salah, Lukaku. Because from game week 7, Lukaku's effective ownership is probably still going to be under 100%, and I can be happy with whatever he does. Instead of having Ronaldo, who I'm not going to probably captain for the next few game weeks, who every single time he gets, say, 10 points, and I've got him, but don't captain him, I'm on. It's going to be like -2 because I didn't captain him. He plans the 5-3-2 formation from game week 8. I think that's a good way to go. Yep, I've said mine will be... well, I'll see. I'll finish this draft and see what we're doing. You've got another 7 drafts in your head. Thanks a bunch. Good. Keep thinking. Aaron, you said you're on your wildcard. No, you're waiting on your game week 8. Is Simicast starting next game? I don't think so. I took him out this week. I started the season with him. I took him out. So, the reason why I'm thinking this big at the back is because, like I said, week in, week out, I've got 8 players here. I can open the FPL app, look at my lads, smile at my defense, don't have to change anything. Hello, Mo Salah. Hello, Lukaku. Let's have a look at the 3 lads who finished the team. So, I think this defense will be too expensive. I think it's still going to be Van Dijk down to Livramento, but let's just have a look for now. Let's just stick Foster back in goal. Forwards that I'm really interested in looking at, and I've said it weeks and weeks and weeks ago, it is this man here, Adam Armstrong. I think for 6 million, with the fixture runs that are coming, the amount of shots that he has and the opportunities that he can create, I think for 6 million, he could be a very, very good not backup striker, one of your front 3. And Antonio's got to go back in. Fortunately, a lot of people sold him. He's on 36.9%, which is a little bit high, but I think his captaincy is going to go down because people are going to be captaining the likes of Salah, Lukaku, and Ronaldo from now on. Less so about Antonio. Hey, Shani, how you doing, buddy? I'm still here. I thought that was a weird comment as well. Asking about no, it wasn't my heritage. What was it? My ethnicity. What's Rob's ethnicity? That's a weird question. Shani, if you get time later, just have a rewind of why I've explained more about going even bigger at the back. I might make a video on it for next week when I do Wildcard. Unless I pull the trigger and just do this tomorrow, but we'll wait. We'll wait and see. So we've got 3 here. Let's just, for argument's sake, let me just put in 2 budget midfielders, 4.5, and I still got 5.1 left. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Right. Let's just, for now, put in Gallagher. I'm 0.5 off. So this is with me not doing any tweaks, not making any sacrifices. So week in, week out, I play 5, and I can play 3 midfielders, 2 midfielders and 3 attackers, or 3 midfielders and 2 attackers, which means that the 3 spaces will be filled by either Traore, Gallagher, Rafinha, Armstrong. And I'm always going to play Antonio. I'm never not going to play Antonio at the moment, right? So 9 of my 11 game week in, week out is set, which means I only have 2 positions to worry about. This just feels right. Like, I don't know any other way to to explain it, if I'm week in, week out, I've got 2 Liverpool, 2 Chelsea, and a City defender. I've got Salah, Lukaku, and Antonio. That means I only have to make a decision about Armstrong, Rafinha, or Traore and Gallagher. And that as a whole squad is rock solid. This is it. This would be something I would be going for. So when people say it's inflexible, it's not. Because I've got Traore, I've got Gallagher, I've got Armstrong, I've got Rafinha. They are the 4 players, and Brownhill will just be the 4.5 million guy who's my 3rd sub every week, right? That means that every single game week, I've got 2 positions, because Antonio right now would be nailed. I've got 2 positions I have to worry about every single game week instead of 11. So when people tell me it's not inflexible, I argue it's the most flexible because I only ever have to think, who should I play this week? Player number 1 or player number 2, because the rest of my starting 11 is solid. Don't have to change a thing. For the people that have just come in now, I've just spent a lot of time explaining why going super big at the back and doing something like this way is actually a lot more flexible, not inflexible, compared to some of the arguments against it. And I don't want to repeat it. I think it was a good point. That's my opinion. You might disagree. It'd be good to hear counter arguments for it. That would be great too. So for you guys that were here for that pretty long explanation as to why doing something like this, in my opinion, would be better. And you can see, I've told you guys, my team value is terrible. I've lost money. I'm only like 100.6. So there's some of you guys out there that are probably on over 101 million, right? You could get this squad that it is right now. I'd only have to make maybe 1 sacrifice, Van Dijk down to a 6 million defender. Let me just do 6. Well, I can't afford 6.1. DS. Double City, double Chelsea. Yeah, that's it. Double City, double Chelsea. And I can afford this squad bang on the nose. So every week, Trent, Alonso, Rudiger, Cancelo, Diaz, Salah, Lukaku, Antonio. And then I have to pick 2 more players out of Rafinha, Gallagher, Traore, Armstrong. And oh no, Cancelo gets rotated for a game week. Not a problem. I have either Rafinha, Gallagher, Traore, or Armstrong on my bench. It's not flexible. Well, okay. Rafinha's not in good form, or Traore's not good in form. Smash one of those down to... You could even put... all right, Traore is not doing well. Put him down to a 4.5 million midfielder, and you can even lower it. I mean, where's 4.5? Let me just smash him in there. I've got 1.5 to play with. So Rafinha goes up to an 8 million. Let's just pop in Jack Grealish here for a second, because I know he's 8 million, because I had him before earlier in the season. 8 million. Now I've only got 1 player in my starting 11 to think about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Play every game week. Grealish would make 10, which means I have to choose between Gallagher, Armstrong, MacArthur, and Brownhill for my 11th man. So, and again, the only reason that I'm not looking to do this now, it's not because I don't believe in this idea. I will have something similar. The only other option I said is if I do Livramento in there and go for 4 at the back, I can turn a Grealish into a Son, or a Gallagher into almost into a Pogba. He's just shy of Pogba, isn't he? 7.6 million. I put Sarr in there. I could put maybe almost Greenwood in there, or I've still got another 1.6. So Brownhill can go up to a 6 million player. So I could get, for example, Traore back. Put him back in here. So yeah, that's simple, guys. It is really big at the back, probably going on my wildcard. I don't think it's inflexible because I'll just play around with the budget players. It's that simple. because that's where we want to switch, right? We want to switch midfielders and attackers and get the budget options. If I can just get 5 massive defenders, Salah and Lukaku, I don't have to play around with anyone else. If I leave a bit of money in the bank doing it this way and don't do Grealish, but bring in back Rafinha and leave 1.5 million in the bank, I could do it that way. Livramento, let's... I've already got Rudiger. Laporte worries me because I don't know if he's going to be nailed again, but just for argument's sake, let me put Laporte back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goalkeeper 6. Salah 7. Lukaku 8. Antonio 9. 2 players out of Armstrong, Rafinha, Sarr, and Traore. 2 out of 4 every single game would be my decision. And my bench would be great because, for example, I'll play Rafinha and Sarr, and I've got Traore and Armstrong on my bench. Okay, this week I'm going to play Armstrong and Traore. I've got Rafinha and Sarr on my bench. First sub, second sub. With MacArthur as third. So, yeah, there it is. That was my long explanation as to why I think going super big at the back is not inflexible, but I think it's the most flexible because you only have to make a decision on 2 or 3 players every single game week. And the only reason that's putting me off now is because Chelsea are literally about to play against Manchester City, and then Manchester City play Chelsea, and then Liverpool as well. So another workaround, because I still look at Liverpool, Chelsea, and City as the massive defense to invest in, because you're getting 19, 20 clean sheets a season there, right? But it's just not there. It's a week too early. That simple as that. It's a week too early. Let me catch it. You've got 1 free transfer left. Would you transfer Ayling or Rafinha? Both are 50% playing. Got no money in the bank. If you're going to wildcard soon, Ernst, I'd take out Rafinha for a game week. Because it's an attacking transfer. So Rafinha to Sarr, for example. If you're going to wildcard next week, make the attacking move. If you've already wildcarded or you're not planning to wildcard, I would save Rafinha and I would take out Luke Ayling. And I think Ayling's got even a less chance of playing. But yeah. But if I find out today that Barnes is dropped and Rafinha is definitely out, I might just pull the trigger and do this tomorrow. Have a look at Scout later on for team news. I know we had some press conferences yesterday. We've got some today. But yeah, if I'm looking at being forced to 10 men or having to definitely have Brownhill and 10 men, for example, I'll just go a week early. I'll suck it up and I'll have Chelsea play against Man City and hope for a 0-0 with a Lukaku goal somehow. But yeah. Or I keep Ronaldo for a week, not Lukaku. That would be my other option. That I just don't get Lukaku. And I just go triple, because I saw it last year. I just go triple Chelsea defense. So no Laporte, no Cancelo, and I pop in. Let's go spicy. Let's get Reece James in there. Get rid of Lukaku. Where was? And I'll do it this way. And fire. Not Wolves. Antonio. And then a 5 million defender. Or I go Livramento. Or a jiggle it about. Either way, something like this. So not having Lukaku, having Ronaldo instead, and having Ronaldo and Salah as my 2 options. And then if Ronaldo goes off the boil or Lukaku hits it big, it's 2 transfers. It's Alonso if he's dropped, or James if he's dropped out to another cheaper or same price defender, and Ronaldo goes down to Lukaku. Because he's exactly $1 million for me, is he? Lukaku is 11.6. Ronaldo for me is 12.6. So there you have it. We'll catch up with people saying. Looks like a dominant back 5, and even Tierney instead of Van Dijk gives you another 1 million. Yeah, but West, FPL West Live. The problem again, so Livramento I think is for budget, for value and budget, Livramento is right up there. If you want to go 4 at the back, if you don't want to go with 5 at the back, I completely understand. It feels risky, it feels boring, whatever. But what I'm going to say is, for in terms of price to points to value, Livramento is an absolute gem. He looks nailed, he's attacking, and Southampton are about to have, 15 weeks worth of, if you have to play Livramento, you're not too sad about it. Probably game week 13 away to Liverpool and 7, but you're not actively playing him. He's going to be like first, second, or third sub, right? But if you're going to go big at the back again, there's no, for me, for defenders, it's Livramento, or I'm going up to a 5.5, 6 million plus defender. Could even go crazy and do something like Robbo and Trent. The only issue with that is Robbo is 7 million. And I think there's a big difference between a 5.5 defender and a 7. And I don't feel as though Robbo, I know he's not played every minute so far, and he did get rotated out in the last game, but I don't feel as though I'm seeing enough from Robbo to earn that 7 million. Look, he's only played 2 games. He's had an injury. He's got a clean sheet, and that's it. No assists from him yet. So I think that is a step too much. Van Dijk, I think, is solid at 6.6. He's such a threat on corners. My God, he's good in the air. What a player he is. Best replacement for Torres. And Lee, just going to bring on a point that you just said about Torres. Again, this comes on to when people are saying about playing around with budget players or having a cheap midfield or something. If you've got 8 or 9 players that are playing every week for you, like 5 top defenders, Salah, Lukaku, Antonio, for example, and you only have to ever tweak around with 1 or 2 Torres type players. So I'll have 9 golden players, and my other 2 I'll punt every week. Torres this game week. All right, he's dropped, he's not playing. Go to Greenwood. Greenwood's out. Jota. All right, let's have a go with Diogo Jota. Mason Mount's on a run of form. Over to Mason Mount. I can do that. If I've only got 2 positions in my starting 11 to chop and change with, that's all I have to focus on. But when people have got a midfield, for example, of Benrahma, Salah, Greenwood, Torres, Jota, you've got 5, like, a midfield with those players in it. 2 or 3 of them every other game week, you're like, I think I want to get rid of him. Oh, I think I'm not keen on him anymore. Oh, he's been dropped. His minutes are fewer. I'll only ever have to worry about 2 of my players being in that situation. Sorry is the obvious transfer this week. I don't think it is. I think the fact that him and Dennis only scored in game week 1 against a newly put together Villa side and against Norwich, who are by far and large the worst team in the Premier League right now, it's absolutely skewed his numbers. The chances and attacking threat that Watford had against Norwich has been massively overcompensated because they play against Norwich. Would love it if all of those from Rob's if I at the back. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but I would apologise to screen with some absolute weapons in the comments, which is why I called this I told you so. And to be honest, it's the comments didn't wind me up, because I said this was the year big at the back was the way to go. I looked at it with stats. I said value for the money that you get, it's fine. And yeah, you're right, Shani. A lot of the comments in pre-season and early season were not particularly friendly. But what's annoyed me is that now, after big at the back is working and everyone else is saying, yeah, big at the back, guys, of course it's the way to go. Are we going to like go massive in defense? And then everyone else is like, yeah, that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. We should all go big at the back. It's like, it's easy I think it's easy for people to sit there and make the predictions in the comments as it's happening or after. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels as though, I mean, I said it ages ago and I was a fool, and now everyone says it now, and then suddenly it's like huge wisdom. That's what irks me a bit. For short term, what you go Jota. Granted, he's not returned like he should have, but City aside, go good features. I think he'll be out by City. I think Firmino will be back by then. Armstrong for Dennis would make that first one work. Aaron, are you secretly Dennis, the Watford striker? Armstrong looks a good option. I've had my arms. I've had my arms on Armstrong. I've had my eyes on Armstrong for I think since game week 2. Let's see. I saw him in game. When was the Manchester United game? Yeah, game week 2. So game week 1, he scored. And then game week 2, I know we only got 2 points against Manchester United here, but he had 2 or 3 massive opportunities he should have scored, and he didn't. Goes to Newcastle, he gets a penalty and an assist. Blanks against West Ham in a pretty even matched game. Plays 73 minutes, comes off. And then he gets, in my opinion, a penalty again against Man City. So this should actually be like 5 points again. If he gets 5 points there, let's say he's on 22 points, where would that put him? I was going, oh, level with more pay. It doesn't sound as impressive. Oh, same as Dennis. Doesn't sound as impressive, but let's not forget that Southampton have played Everton, who were unbeaten before last week, Manchester United, West Ham, and Manchester City in the first 5. So, yeah. That's why I'm looking at Armstrong. You like the 6-ish mids this season, they're giving us great flexibility. And that's my point, Aaron. If I knock one of these down to a 4.5 million and give myself one option, I'll have enough money that every single game week, Armstrong and 2 midfielders, right? So those 2 midfielders and 1 on the bench, so 3. I'll always have enough money to chop and change between midfielders 7 million and under. So when people say it's not flexible, you don't need flexibility with 6 million defenders because you just get them and you keep them. Oh, thanks, Chris. I didn't know I was 8,000 subs. Thanks, mate. If I didn't have a ridiculously painful face, I would have maybe blown a horn. But I also don't have a horn. Did you miss the score predictions? No. But Denver, I made some pretty good ones. I actually always forget the predictions, but I do remember I said Newcastle leads was 1-1. And I agreed and also said about Chelsea doing a professional 2-0 job. Is Trent Price due to drop? I think it is he 7.6 or 7.5. 7.6. I don't know, but I wouldn't care about it. Like, you're not going to get rid of Trent, are you? Because he's way above everybody else. But for 7, I mean, if you got him at 7.5, he's 7.6. You're not going to lose any money. He's just going to go back to 7.5, so it doesn't matter. Latest on Rafinha, don't know yet. Check out the scout video. I think the scout video will only be an hour or 2, where it rounds up the team news. If he's been pictured in training, I think the thing with Rafinha is he'll start and play and maybe come off if he's injured, or he won't get on at all because they need him, right? I'm still thinking if I'm just going to wildcard this week or not. I've got tomorrow to decide that. Hey, Marco, buddy. Since joining our United, Fernandez has played 5 games on Saturdays at noon, 4 official and 1 friendly. He always scored. Will the same happen next Saturday afternoon? Those facts, I always sound mean when I say this, they don't correlate. All right, that's the nicest way for me to say it. Just because he scores at lunchtime doesn't mean he's going to score again. No, I can't. He's 31.7%. I just can't back for it. I can't back Bruno when he's playing a little bit deeper. Ronaldo's clearly the attacking spear of the side. I think he's great. He gets into really good positions. And from when I've seen Pogba dinking the ball over the top to Bruno Fernandes, it looks fantastic. But I can't justify 11.9 million for it. I can't. It's too much. It's just too much. Strategy is good, but possibility of a mistake at the back leading to a goal shall ruin the entire clean sheet points. Point changes from 6 to 2. But Sam, here's my argument. Here's my counter argument for that. So you're right. I'm triple Chelsea at the minute now, guys, just because I was making a point before. Like, I probably will just do. Let me just chuck in Diaz for a second, just so people don't think I'm right. So you're right. If I do double defense, like 2 Liverpool, 2 Chelsea, for example, or 2 Chelsea, 2 City, for example, 1 goal can turn 6 points to 2 points. 100% agree. But here's the thing with Chelsea. If I go triple, if I go Alonso and James and Rudiger, even if Chelsea concede, I still think Alonso or Reece James is going to get me an assist. I still believe in that. Second, you start the game with 6 points and you can possibly drop to 2. This is correct. But when you've got players in midfield, if you're playing 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, your players are on 2 points trying to get up to 6. So it's like, okay, I give you 6 stones to hold on to, right? And I give your mate 2 stones, right? He has to take away your stones to get some stones, right? So I start every match with 6, 12, 18, oh my God, 24, 30. I start every game week with 30 points in my backline. And then when a goal goes in, you're right, I'll lose points, but I have them to start with. Whereas someone in midfield or someone up front must do something. They must. And when we're playing around with players that are worth 6 million and worth 7 million, we're only looking for something one every 3 games. I would argue that I would expect a clean sheet from Chelsea or Liverpool or Manchester City. Definitely one every 3 games. So I completely get it. One, if I went triple Chelsea and they concede a goal, that's 18 points down to 6. True. But I believe the Chelsea defenders could get an assist, stick it on Lukaku's head. But also, I'm starting the game with 18 points. Rather than having Rafinha, Sarr, Traore, Jota, Torres, Grealish, Mahrez, whoever, who start on 2 points and must do something to get those extra points. He Chang Huang, can you tell us anything about him? Did he have a goal scoring reputation at his old club? I'm intrigued by him, but don't know much about him. I won't sit here and lie. I don't know that much about him myself, but what I have seen, I think he looks absolutely lively. And if I wasn't going to go for Armstrong, and if the Bull is his nickname, if the Bull would start, then I would then I put him in 5.5 million. The piece of skill he did when he came on. Did you see it? On the sideline, and he goes through. He's on the touchline and he spins it and he keeps the ball in play. He's come on and scored a goal, and he's come on and looked really exciting. With the fact that Wolves can't seem to buy a goal at the moment, and they've scored 2 goals all season, and he scored 1 of them. I don't know how much longer they can keep him out the side. Now, people say Traore's done really well and Trincão's done really well, whatever, but they've just been unlucky. I get it. But he's come onto the pitch and he has done stuff and he has looked lively. So when do you give him the chance? But, caveat, there are a lot of players. So Jimenez is the central striker. That is solid nailed talisman, right? Which means you've got Trincão, Podence, the Bull, Trincão, Podence, and Traore. You've got 4 players fighting for 2. I don't like those odds for any of those players. Is Mount worth a go? Ted brought him into his side. When I did my preseason research, Mount's stats were fantastic. In the last 2 games, one he didn't play and one he got benched at half time. Last season, Mount was great value, nailed on. You know, it's Havertz, Mount, Lukaku, right? 7.5 million. I'd put him in the same category as I would for Jota and Greenwood. You pay that much money, you want a player to play. But with those players, don't be surprised if he doesn't. So, no. I would rather go double Chelsea defense and Lukaku instead of instead of one Chelsea defender, Mount and Lukaku. It's crazy how a 10-point haul could mean a rank drop of 65k to 130k. It's still early, but so close. I agree, Denver, and that's because the template took off. If the template didn't succeed so well in the first 3 game weeks, everyone would have diverged earlier. But the fact that the template started with like a minimum of 85 points, and then you've got the dead teams as well, that's why it's been so difficult to catch up. And the template players are still doing well. Lukaku, Van Dijk, Manquillo, or Vardy, Trent, and White. Greg, I don't even think Manquillo's going to play. Can you not change Manquillo to Livramento or someone else? And then I would say Lukaku, Van Dijk, and that one over Vard. Oh, but no Trent. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like both of them, Greg. I'm going to be honest with you, mate. James, do I have the stones to captain Antonio? I don't have stones, mate. No. He's I don't know if he's back from injury. No, I see what your point is. It's not about stones. It's not about having the guts to captain someone. You captain whoever you think is going to get the most points. I think Ronaldo's going to get the most points this game week, so I'm going to captain him. Because every time it feels we have a situation where a team is dead set to destroy the other team, it just doesn't happen. Like, it just brings me back to Man City against Norwich, when Norwich had like literally no defenders or anything, and then City rocked up to Norwich and Norwich beat them at home. Hey Neil, which period do you think there's a lot to think about the wildcard and when to press the button? Yeah, I think it's going to be this week and next week. What about Kovacic? No. He's done well. He's 5.1 million. Sounds like it's good value, but I still think the value is 2 defenders and 1 striker, aka Lukaku. On your tweet, who would you start regardless of clean sheets? Tierney or Cody? Final pick for you this week. I'd have to go Tierney. Spurs haven't looked great attacking wise. They're a counter-attacking team, but they should outplay and outdo Spurs. But Cody's just going to get you a clean sheet. I don't think he's going to get you a goal. So I'd have to say Tierney. I think both of them will not keep a clean sheet. Sam, great counter, mate. Just worried about Chelsea having great fixtures with Champions League fixtures midweek. Tuchel more rotated about 4 against easier sides. Same goes for City. Which again, Sam, a very good point about rotation. Completely agree. So you can see I've got Trent, Alonso, Rudiger, Diaz, and let's just say Laporte or Van Dijk. Okay, let's say that's my back 5, right? I completely agree. Let's say, I mean, if all of those get rotated, I'm not the only one that's in big trouble, right? Defenders usually get rotated less than any other position, not including the goalkeeper, but, you know, let's be realistic. Defender, you know, starting with the goalkeeper, the least rotated, then defenders, then midfielders, then attackers. Or midfielders and forwards are pretty close, right? So if I'm going into a game week where my entire backline has been rotated, I can count myself extremely unlucky, and lots of people are going to be in a difficult situation for me as well. My side point for that is, if I've got Alonso, Rudiger, and Christensen, or Alonso, Rudiger, and Azpilicueta, or Alonso, or I don't have Alonso, I've got Rudiger, Silva, and Reece James, something like that. I know he might rotate, but surely, he can't drop all 3 of them. And like I said, with this squad, I only have to worry about picking 2 positions out of Rafinha, Sarr, Traore, and Armstrong, right? Which means if I have Armstrong and Rafinha playing, and 1 or 2 of my defenders get rotated out, I've still got Sarr coming off my bench or Traore coming off my bench. And I think there's worse situations to be had than that, right? Begovic or Sanchez this week? Who's Everton got? Oh, I'd have a go with Begovic if he's got Norwich. But is Pickford back? Again, we need to wait for team news and press conferences, guys. I can't. Back. All right. Apparently he's out for a while, so I would definitely start Begovic at home against Norwich. I know they've not been great in the last game defensively, Everton, but Norwich are just so bad. And Brighton are away to Palace. So my rank right now is 588,000, I think. Yeah, about 588. But 351. We talked about this earlier with the points of how close everyone is. So between 1 million and 200k, there's what's that? 34 points between 800,000 places. It's crazy. What about 523 might return big? Yeah, Abel. I talked a lot about that earlier and explained just that. Big explanation on why. Huge 5 at the back with Salah, with Lukaku or Ronaldo, and then you flick between 532 and 523. So worth keeping Simicast to play in case he comes back. Back him up with Livramento. I've sold Simicast this week, James, to Livramento. Not because I'm interested in Diogo Jota. Simicast is going to play sometimes. He is. I know, yeah, for sure. But I wouldn't hold him, though. I think his job is done. He has served us well. Had double Chelsea defence picked originally, but given its Man City opposition chasing Rudiger and Trent / Van Dijk for this week, plan to transfer Alonso on next week. I think that's fine, Greg. Are you on a wild card now, Greg? Hey, Clayton, is Rondon a good punt this week for Norwich, thinking to take him off for Tony? Clayton, have you not got anything else to do? that sounds like I'm having a dig. Like, I'm not. I mean, with your team. Like, well, you know any other good questions? No, I mean, like, if that's a free transfer that you're going to make, there's nothing else. Have you got 2 free transfers and you're going to burn one away, then take the punt. If you're wildcarding next week, take the punt. Don't you think Azpilicueta and Rudiger best Chelsea defensive options? No. I love Azpilicueta, by the way. Just a servant. He gets the job done. He has played. But here's the thing. I feel as though when it's a game that they want to attack, I don't know if Azpilicueta plays. So he'll play against Man City because he's the more solid defender at right wing back than Reece James. But after that, when they want to crack open Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley, Leicester, I think he might get rotated out. He could be. I could go Rudiger, Alonso, and Azpilicueta, and not Reece James, because I mean Reece James potential-wise is sky high. His potential is right up there, but he's not played though. I mean, yeah, I know he got suspended for this one, but then he didn't come back in. Just, yeah, his potential is so high. I would look like, and this is again, if I go with a big back 5 and I've got 2 good 6 to 6.5 million subs, like an Armstrong or a Traore or a Rafinha or a Saar, I'll take the punt on Alonso, James, and Rudiger. If I wanted to play it safer, I might not go with Alonso or James and go with Azpilicueta. At 7.5, don't you think it's better to go for a 5.5 or 6 or 6.5 defenders and utilize money elsewhere, something in the midfield or front combined strength? No, because the point I made earlier, Sam, is I don't need to strengthen. I don't need to strengthen my attack because I'll play the same 9 players week in, week out. Let me just show you the thing I had earlier. Let me keep these guys in. So, Michael comes back in. Let me just pop on Monsieur Armstrong. Let's go to Chelsea. Let's go Rudiger. Let's go Alonso. Let's go Van Dijk. And then let's go Diaz. Let's go nice, boring 6-pointer. And let me just throw these 2 boys back in there. All right, so I need to jiggle some stuff around. But the point that you're making about the money is every single week I play the same 9 players. Raya, Trent, Rudiger, Alonso, Van Dijk, Diaz, Salah, Lukaku, Antonio. And I've just got others to choose from. If you give me all of the players, the midfielders that are 8 million or less, and you compare it to like my defenders, for the price that they are, I back my defenders. And my team as a whole. Barnes would go off, by the way, here. Let me just go for let me make it. And by the way, guys, my team value is 100.6. It's not good team value. I've ignored it this year. I'm sure your team value is higher than mine. I'll have to take out Van Dijk for a 6 million defender, which is still very, very high. Let me just do it by price. Can't go fast with the quirks. Got too many. Should I just put Shaw in again for now and have at least one Manchester United player? I mean, they're not getting clean sheets. I pointed out as well that Manchester United made the most errors, defensive errors. I'm not going Luka Dean. I'll tell you that right now. All right, just for argument's sake, let me just pop in Cancelo, and I can afford all of this. So going back to your point, right, about if we look at midfielders or whatever for 8 million and less, let's say 8.1. Oh, let me put it by points to see people informed. So Ben Rama, it's basically Ben Rama, who is still 0.5 million more expensive than everyone except Trent in my back line. Pogba, Greenwood, Sarr, who could go into this team, by the way. I just have to take out like one player. Yeah. And I said about this earlier, Sam, I can chop and change. So these players that pop up, like Sarr's in a good streak of form, Gray's doing really well, Decore is on a run, Torres is doing well. I can just chop and change those two players. But pretty much every single week, if this was my team right now, every single week I'd be playing the same team, basically. It would probably be Traore and Gallagher on my bench right now. If the Bull plays at Wolves, Armstrong goes down to the Bull, and I've got 0.5 in the bank. Why not remove Trent and try another squad? Never going to remove Trent. Not even close to tempted. He's so good. How about using Salah and Jota as mids in a 5-2-3? Forward line could be Jimenez, Ronaldo, and Antonio. Trent, Shaw, Rudiger, Alonso, Cancelo, rest of them could be 4.5. Because the reason why I won't switch to something so low on my bench is because I've got defenders that could get rotated out. When I'm on a wild card, I'll have an almost full 15. And if I have too many 4.5s in there, and it's the week that Cancelo gets rotated at City, Alonso gets rotated, I'm going to start a lot of too many game weeks with 4.5 million midfielders that I don't want. That's why. Again, City worry me obviously the most because rotation. And we say that Cancelo's played every single minute so far, and has done nothing to warrant getting benched from Pep. But you don't need anything to get a warrant from Trent to get benched, because he'll just bench you for no reason. But yeah, for sure, I can drop this. And something I'd be likely to do is, like I said earlier, with Livramento, if I just get Livramento instead and keep hold of him, I've got 2 million in the bank and I'll go 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. I could do something like that. So 4-1. So Salah, yeah, 4-3-3 in this situation. I've got almost 2 million in the bank. So Trent, Rudiger, Alonso, Diaz, Rafinha, Salah, Traore, Gallagher on the bench, Antonio, Lukaku, Armstrong. I could upgrade Gallagher to a 7.5. Or bring back Barnes. Or let me just go back to Gallagher, who would be a sub player anyway. I could upgrade Brownhill to a 6.4. I could upgrade him to Sarr, for example. And there you go. 0.3 in the bank. If I can eke any more money out, I'd probably get another 4.5 million goalkeeper. So every week would be Raya, Trent, Rudiger, Alonso, Diaz, Livramento on the bench. And I could go 4-4-2. Sarr, Rafinha, Salah, Traore, Gallagher on the bench, Antonio, Lukaku, Armstrong on the bench. And then this is what I was saying about 4-4-2. Sarr's out of form, he's out. I get a 6.4 million in. I get Ben Rama in, for example. I want to double up on West Ham. Still, I don't know. Just, I'm not backing him. I probably should, because, I mean, but he's just had one really good game week. But, Ben Rama's 6.5 now, so I'm 0.1 off, but yeah. Anyway. Honestly, guys, like, the deadline is 6 p.m. my time tomorrow. So that is like what? 12 o'clock? 11 o'clock your time? Yeah, 11 a.m. your time. So don't be surprised if you follow me on Twitter. Don't be surprised if you see I can't be asked with my hair. Don't be surprised if you see me pull the trigger on this and do it for tomorrow, depending on team news. Because if we go back to what my squad is right now, it's this. And again, my fixtures aren't bad, but Barnes gets dropped. Wolves can't find the net again, and Rafinha doesn't play because he's injured. I'm struggling. The only thing that I'm worried about is I wouldn't have Ronaldo as captain. It would be back to Salah. 3 a.m. deadline for you out there in Cali. Is that California or Cali as in like Mexico? It's tough, but I already, like I said, I've already shown you guys what I'm looking for in my wildcard. It's just whether or not to do it now, or whether or not to do it after Chelsea play against Man City. Because obviously that is the thing that worries me, right? I don't... To have my Chelsea defense play against the champions even at home doesn't feel like the right move. So I might just give one last hurrah to my 2 Wolves boys and Mr. Harvey Barnes, who has Burnley at home, rather than go maybe just 1 week too early. Are there any blanks doubles likely for the second wild card? I don't know yet, James. Unclear. What do you reckon to Veltman as a 5th defender? 4.5 is good value. Might get. I don't think it's too bad. I just think Livramento is the best budget option, to be honest. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Your opinion on Ronaldo, Lukaku, and Armstrong as a front 3. Abel, I spent a lot of time earlier explaining that if you've got Salah, now if you don't have Salah, that's fine because you'll captain Ronaldo. But every single week, if you've got Ronaldo and Salah, you're going to have one of those 2 players playing against your team every single week. Benitez is tightly lipped. Any news on DCL? You can add DCL to the Armstrong if available. I don't think I can afford to go that high up because he's like 8.2. And I've heard nothing. It was supposed to be 2 or 3 weeks. It says October 2nd, which is after Norwich. So yeah. But no, I think Armstrong as well, going for budget. And rotation options that I can bench. LA, California. What's the best 4.5 million? There is no good 4.5 million bench option for a forward. Yeah, there isn't. Let's say the Brighton lad. Lacadia. Why not? This one. Jurgen. But no, there are no good options at 4.5 million as a forward. That's why playing with 3 forwards is probably the better way to go. Because even though they're a little bit more expensive to get a good start, like 6 million for Armstrong, you're throwing money away on a player that's never going to play if you get a 4.5 million forward. City will have to worry a bit more considering they have Chelsea followed by PSG away, and then Liverpool, tough time for Pep. True. And Chelsea beaten Manchester City in the last 3 games, which leans me more towards... Because what I could do is I could wildcard right now and bring in 2 Chelsea defenders and just bring in Cancelo for sure in 2 game weeks. Like, I don't have to do a wildcard with all my City and all my Chelsea players in right now. Right? So I could keep Shaw, for example. Keep Shaw for this week and bring in James and Alonso, or Rudiger and Alonso, or whatever. Do 2 at the back for Chelsea, and just don't bring in any City defenders for 2 weeks. Have a placeholder. Have like a Van Dijk, for example, and then take Van Dijk out after City or something like that. Norwich dominated the Championship last season. Do you think they'll turn it around? No, I don't. I think they're a yo-yo team that just are constantly going to go up and down. They've done nothing and shown nothing to indicate that they're not going to finish bottom of the table this year. They're almost actually about to level the record of most consecutive defeats if you include the last time in the Premier League. So no, sorry Norwich. As horrible as that sounds, I would like them to do well. They seem like a very nice club. All right, guys, that is going to be it for me today. If you're just joining now, I did do a big segment earlier about why going even bigger at the back could be the correct way to go. You've bought Pookie, so you're worried. James, I would be worried. I'm very sorry. But yeah, I go into a lot of detail and show a draft as to why I think actually having 5 big defenders, like 2 Chelsea, to Liverpool and a City, for example, could be the way to go. But there we go. Hull, they're playing Everton this week. Yes, Rocket Rebel Simon in the chat. I'm about to head is right. Everton are all right though, Simon. I know they got beat badly by Villa, but you've got a lot of injuries, and before that, they've not been that bad at all. Deadline is 8:30 p.m. your time here in Australia, 8 o'clock my time, Greg, out in Taiwan. Wildcard is due to 2 blanking walls. I might, etc. Reckon Vardy's worth a point for a couple of user. Possibly. I like punts like that. They're smart. Vardy's a proven goal scorer with low ownership. It's a bit pricey, but placeholder for Lukaku, for example. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Again, what's the fixtures? Do we have an international break after this one or the next one? Let me check first. Okay, I will be back next Friday. It's the one after that I won't be in 2 weeks. So yeah, I'll be back here next Friday around 12 to 12. Starting around 12 or 12:30 UK time. It'd be good to see you guys again. Oh, I'm Mauritius. That sounds lovely. So good luck, guys. Follow me on Twitter. Let me just put it up for you guys to see. Follow me on Twitter, and here is where you'll find out if by tomorrow I will have wildcarded or not, because it's possible. Much love from Cape Town. Love from South Africa, mate. Take it easy. And yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. Good luck. And if I do change anything, I will obviously put it on here. If that interests you anyway. So take care, guys. Have a good one. And good luck. Don't make any big hits if you want carded next week. See you later, guys.